Life with Liliana and Friends.
Good evening and welcome to Life with Liliana and Friends. And Merry Christmas! I hope everyone has had a wonderful day with family. And I can imagine if it's anything like Christmas with my family, people are laying around and this is the perfect time for you to just come around and listen to what we're talking about on Life with Liliana and Friends. And so as you know, we've been talking around the topic greener pastures. And so I've been speaking to different friends and family about their experiences of living overseas and the opportunities they had, the challenges, and man, we have had some great conversations. This evening, I have my two beautiful friends who are based in the US, Lavonne and Truna Mitchell. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Liliana. We're excited to be here, and Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. What a beautiful occasion for us to meet up and chat.
Yes, I know. You guys are really hard to pin down. You know, we can only know on social media whether you're in the country or whether you're back in the US. But thank you for making time because I know you guys are really busy.
No problem at all. We're happy to make the time.
Yes.
Awesome. So, you know, your story, it requires a lot more than a couple of episodes, but we're going to try our best to bring out, you know, the essence of the story because, man, there's so much that we can learn from you guys. Your story inspires me. And so I'm going to start from a place that wasn't such a good place in your story. Like if we think back 15 years ago, people will be surprised to learn that you were homeless. You know, you were facing financial difficulty in a country that is not your home. And yet you just, and today though, you are homeowners, you're philanthropists, you're investors, and you just have so much love for everybody. I haven't met a couple like you that it just overflows with love for not only human beings, but also the animals you see. You know, guys, viewers, these guys picked up, rescued horses from along the western side, you know, the Coral Coast corridor, rescued them, and now they're nurturing them and caring for them. I tell you, there's just, these two hearts are just overflowing. But to start off, could you, when you look back over the years, could you help us understand what guided you out of homelessness into the place where you are today?
Well, I think, first of all, we can be thankful for our experiences that got us here today and where we're at today. Along the way, like everyone else, we like, you know, you talk about being homeless, right? When we came over to the States, we also encountered the recession where there was job loss and different opportunities that were taken away. And so we had to pivot in a different direction. And then we were dealt in situations where we had to make the best of it. And the way Trina and I have really overcome some of these obstacles is really looking and adapting in the different cards that we're dealt with.
Yeah, and it's, you know, adapting to the different cultures, adapting to, and I think it also has a big part to play is our foundation, right?
Yes, our foundation, and really that is what has helped us, right? We were both Trina and I were brought up in a home and loving families, and we have used that love to push us through, right? We weren't born with a silver spoon in our mouth, right? We were born in two different environments, have two different set of friends, also with religion as well. But the foundation of love instilled by our families, we've taken that and used that to shine the light regardless of what other cards or situations we're dealt with. And long as we had each other and knowing that we come from humble beginnings, staying humble and grounded and being yourself and looking for the good in every situation. Like one of the sayings that I've heard and we actually have lived by is adjusting and bringing your will into harmony, what's to happen, so that nothing happens against your will. Mm-hmm. So if something fails or something happens, right, it is a gift from God because there's something always better. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
There's always a lesson to be learned.
There's always a lesson to be learned, right? Being also during that time when we were homeless because we didn't have jobs, so we had to adjust. We lived in a car for a while. We lived with friends, and then we adapted. We became more creative, so that that helped us along the way. It also the spirit of being happy and grateful for whatever we had, whether it was $2, $20. You value each thing. So looking for the good, adapting, and then also using your foundation of love and taking that and shining your light through. So I think that has helped us, and that's where we are today.
It helped us navigate our way through life and to where we are today. So, yeah.
That's so true, because when you're talking about adapting, those words adapting and pivoting, they become so common now through COVID. It's like adapt, pivot. But it sounds like you guys had, you'd learned it from that time. And so now it wasn't so COVID. What was COVID like for you guys? Was it I'm sure, of course, compared to homelessness, nothing. But how did you have to do some pivoting and some adapting when it came to COVID in your own spaces and what you're involved in?
Yeah, we definitely did. We had to adapt to the new culture. We had to take the culture around COVID, right? And we had to be creative in the way for our businesses so that we can keep our team together and, ensure that no one loses a job. So we had to pivot our business into what was needed at that time. Events wasn't happening, so we had to go into corporate catering. We had to do something that was sustainable for the company and sustainable for us.
Yes, and in that way, when you're talking about COVID, right? Regardless, when people moved to their homes, like it's a huge adjustment. Like you're working remotely, and then you're at home, you're confined in a space. I think what we have been successful with is there's something called dead time. We make use of and make that dead time into a lifetime, whether we're stuck in traffic or we're having interesting conversations, whether we're delayed at the airport, right? So really making the most and being productive. We never bored because, like you said, you saying you guys are always moving because we try to find things that are productive and then that are purposeful in whatever we did. So COVID for us was a beautiful time, right? We also got to know our teams. We also got to look at different ways we can venture out. So we really used that time to be a lot more creative and being appreciative with what cards we were dealt with at that particular time. Trina and I, we spend so much time together now. We definitely finish each other's sentence because even with COVID, right, you're stuck in one place and you just have to work together.
Liliana, it wasn't hard. It was simple to be together. I loved us spending all that time, and it forced us into a situation where we really needed to be, have more family time or have times with our pets, spend time with the pets, and find that real balance between work and your private life.
Yeah, and I think we weren't the only ones being creative. A lot of people came up with different businesses, right? Amazing work in Fiji of the talent that they, creating different things. People were laid off their jobs and then they went back into farming. They went back into what we're skilled with. And it's really, we managed to actually stop and see some of these things as well. It allowed us to come back to Fiji to do some of those things, yeah. So
I have to commend you guys because of the work that you put in over the years, because of your choice to look at things in that way, because it is a choice, right? You can look at your situation and be like, oh my goodness, I'm just going to have to wait for, this financial crisis to be over. I'm going to wait for COVID to be over. Or you can say, okay, what am I learning here? What can I do here? How can I adapt? And so it looks like all of those years of you doing that, when COVID came, it was just like, nah, this is easy.
Yeah. And what's next?
Yeah. That's it. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we just want to hear a little bit about what it was like when you actually set foot in the US.
Life with Liliana and Friends. Life with Liliana and Friends.
Welcome back to Life with Liliana and Friends. By the way, I hope you have sent a text or message to any of your family or friends that are not watching. They need to get in on this conversation. So Von and Trin, you're not homeless anymore, obviously, like we just spoke through. But I'd love to hear what it was like, Vaughn, because I know Lavonne came first to the US, and like many other Fijians, got a green card, like in the lottery. And so, what was it like when you got there? Did you come to a family? Was it what you expected? Talk us through what that experience was like.
Well, first of all, I was really fortunate to get the lottery and get the green card to come over. Coming over, speaking from my experience as an individual, when I go to different places, different environment, I don't tend to have expectations. I do have goals, but I don't have expectations. And from my experience coming in, I didn't have family that could accommodate me and give me a place to live. So I had to be creative in how I would acquire those things. So what I did was I applied for schooling, because I know if I got into school, I could get housing. And then my next steps were to find a job and then be able to get an apartment and move forward. So luckily, I managed to get into school, and then I also applied for a couple of grants. They gave me those grants, and then I got into housing as well. So while I was in housing, I had never lived in the States before. Yes, I visited, but I've never lived in the States. So I had to look for apartments. So what I did was pretty simple. I looked for apartments that were close by to my housing, at the same time applying for jobs. But you're talking, this is 2007. There was so many jobs. So I managed to get into IT, which helped me financially get an apartment, which Truna at that particular time was in...
I was still in New Zealand.
She was still in New Zealand, packing up her things to come over and join me. So one of the things, moving over, anywhere, any environment, it'll be a little different. I won't say difficult, it is different. So like I said, big word, the word for the day is to adapt, right? And then with that, you can work towards your goals. 2008 hit, the recession hit. There was a bunch of we were laid off, and then we were trying to find jobs, but it also provided us opportunity. We went into jobs such as caregiving. We went into babysitting. I also went around selling vacuums and were dropped up in different neighborhoods. Wasn't a fun thing at that time, but it was a different experience, right? And part of the job was to vacuum someone's household. By the time you finish vacuuming one part of the house, then you try and pitch your sale on buying a vacuum. So,
I mean, the hustle was real.
The hustle was real. It was creative ways. I mean, my partner was so eager to sell his vacuum that he was trying to convince the client that it was eco-friendly, that he took the detergent and put it and gulped a couple, and then he ended up getting choked up. They called 911. So, but it was an experience, right? And then you grow thicker skin and you become very creative, but also appreciating the culture that you're going into, the different environment, but not forgetting your roots, right? Staying humble, being grounded. So coming over to the States those were some of the experience. And then how do you grow? How are people successful? So we had also a goal on an industry we would like to attack. So, which was we love the tech company, so we moved into Silicon Valley, and we said, regardless of whatever position, we are gonna work our way up, but also be surrounded by that environment, that energy,
having like-minded people around you,
and really choosing your tribe is really important. The people closest to you and people that are vibrating at the level that you are. And it's okay. At times we had, we had friends we had for a while, but then we drifted away because they're going through their unfoldment. And then we're going in a different direction. Then we come back again and meet, and it's like nothing.
And that's okay.
And that's fine. That's fine. But I think, it's really like, we made a conscious effort to stay in the environment that we chose to be in, that we foresee ourselves in our goals. And we were prepared to tackle any adversity that was to come with that, with that decision.
And really finding the good in that situation, whatever situation that we were put in to, and it made it fun too. The experience is like, we have stories for days, you know.
I don't know if you have enough time.
Yeah, don't know if you have enough time. But I think to people that are deciding to make that move is you need to adjust your lens, and you have goals. That's great. But also the expectation of whatever you dealt with, there's never a problem because there's always a solution, and really emerging yourself to the culture, but not losing yourself in.
Yes, that's great. Like, that's just a key message also coming through, like what City was talking about. He just said, just hang on to those things that are good, the great parts of our culture. Stay grounded. And Vaughn, you've just said, like, you've given us so many gems in that short piece. Like, I heard you talk about not having expectations, but goals, which makes so much sense. And I hope that helps somebody today. Goals, and just forget the expectations, because you don't know when you're going to a new place, and expect it to be different. But importantly, if I were to say the top 3 things that just came out of this short conversation already, is surrounding yourself with the right people. Choose your tribe. And that word choose is so important, because we just say, oh, well, this is just the gang around me, this is just my family. Actually, you choose, and you can, right? And that's really helped you guys to today. And so that was what it looked like when you came. What does life look like today? Because you know what, when you were saying hustling, I was like, yeah, it looks like they're kind of still hustling, but like at a different level of hustle.
It's a different kind of hustle, Yeah, it's a different kind of hustle.
So what does life look like today in the different businesses that you do and you're involved in? I know we probably don't have time to go through everything, but what are some key things where your heart is, some key areas where your heart is, where you spend your time?
I think for us, where we're at today is we have changed the pivot a little bit on the lenses that we were, because, as individuals, you evolve, you grow, right? On what happened 10 years ago is really, right now, we focus on the present. And part of that is like doing things really well. If you do something and you have today, you're not promised tomorrow. So everything we do, from when we wake up in the morning, we have a routine. We get up in the morning, we don't touch our phones. We make a conscious effort to do things to set the day right?
To have the right tone through the day.
Have the right phone. So we don't check emails, we don't check our threads. We get up, and we don't need an alarm clock, because we got a cat who will wake us up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And if we don't respond, he will pull or even sit on our face or sneeze on us to get us up. So we got to get up because we're responsible for them and feed them. And then we go out the door, and then we go out and have a walk. The first thing is, and that's really important. We go, we have our walk together, and then we really appreciate just being alive. And that juices you up for the day, right? Breathing in the fresh air. And it's not only for weight loss, but it's just getting your mind ready.
It's setting your mind ready for the day to, like we come back in after our walk, we have a coffee, and that's when we really download what we need to do through the day, and then we strategize. I'm in my office, she's in her office, and then we collaborate at some point during the day.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then the thing is where we at right now, and you say we've got different businesses, right? Truna's got her meeting set up. I also have my meeting set up of just looking for new opportunities. And how do we better ourselves? And how do we get better from the day before, right? We're not perfect. We always have hapshitus trying to change those bad habits into being more productive. And how do we empower people to be productive as well, Like any business that you have, you have times where things are not working according to the way you want it to be, but then you also have to look for creative things, because you have a lot of people who you're responsible for. So we take that into account. We take that into account. We have people here, we have people in Fiji, we have animals that depend on us. We need to be on our A game, right? Accountability, And then the other thing is just being ready for the day. Two of the main things we do is we take that walk. We have a cold shower. Today it was 3 degrees outside. And
I tell you what, there's nothing that will bring you right back to life than a cold shower in the morning.
a cold shower in the morning. And the reason being is we've really worked on ourselves on like some of the practices we do. We have a cold shower. We control our breathing. We get under the cold shower. And obviously there's benefits in the sense where you get your blood circulating, but also is how do you respond to stress? Because when you're having a cold shower, your body's under stress because it's trying to get you all moving.
I love that.
It gets you real pumped. Like sometimes, some think we're like on something, but we're pumped.
What are you on? We're just having our coffee. We're like, no, oh my God.
Yeah, we're excited for the day.
We're energized,
Yeah.
Sorry, just to interrupt. What you just reminded me of is like the posture. The word posture comes to mind. Like just getting ready and then getting yourself in the right posture. Like how you have a boxer. Like when he's in the ring, he's not standing there slack and waiting for somebody to, kick him down. He's like this. But that's after years of training. So you guys, it's just like, okay, let's clear our head. Let's get our body in order. And now we're ready. We're just going to take a quick break, guys.
Life with Liliana and Friend. Life with Liliana and Friend.
Welcome back. Man, this conversation with Lavonne and Truna has just been so good so far. And we were just talking about having the right posture at the start of the day. But Lavonne and Truna, you as philanthropists, I want to just move into there, right? So you got the right posture, you got lots of things happening all day, and of course, aiming for those goals without expectations. Now, you have been spending a lot more time in Fiji, or as of recent, in not only investing, but in the space of philanthropy. Now, can I just understand, why do you choose to give back in this way? Because you are living the life in the US. You could just be there and just enjoy your life and travel the world and forget about us and come back and visit once a year. Why do you choose to why do you choose to come back, and where are your efforts focused in Fiji?
I mean, why not? We were born in Fiji. We're deeply rooted in Fiji, and we're at the point in our lives where we can come back and give back to our country. And our efforts just happen organically, right? Like our philanthropy work all happens organically on what our passion lies and what kind of speaks to us at that moment.
Yeah. So, and like going back to what Truna said is like, it came organically in the sense where we're all spiritual and spirit beings, right? We're born into this world with nothing. We'll leave out of this world with nothing. That being said, we're here and we've part of it is working. We've found our purpose, and our purpose is really to reveal the goodness and the presence that is the light and love, right? And how do we do that? How we do that is we share what we have, and we give back, right? With Fiji is a very special place to us because we, like she said, we grew up there and we understand the culture, and we have a connection like no other. Like you say, we're connected to the land, we're connected to the sea, we're connected to everything, but we were chosen to be, God chose us to be born in Fiji, and there's a reason. Mm-hmm. There's work to be done there. And so we have decided to use that to shine the light, and part of that is we also brought awareness with animals, right? They're spiritual beings as well. Mm. Any animal will give you unconditional love. And I think what it is over the years, sometimes with culture and sometimes the upbringing, there's learned behaviors on how you treat animals. But I think as time changes, it's good we can educate, we can bring awareness, and that's where our passion is about animals, right? Really standing up for them. We stand up for anybody, but we saw there was a need, and that's where we wanted to go. Also, the people that we've met.
The communities people in the communities that we've met. And wherever we feel, like there's there's a natural pull for us.
It's a calling.
It's we then invest money in there, or we give back to those communities that we feel have the most need.
The thing is, it's not difficult to give because our mindset, our concept, or our lens, the way we live our life is we are unlimited beings. There is unlimited potential. There's nothing as a limit. We give and give. My dad will say, "What's it?
Spend it, lend it, give it away, and it comes right back to you."
Right? And that's the same concept, right? Why you got to keep everything when you can give? That pure joy from giving and the reaction that people have, as well as that is does not have a monetary value. And I think we've lived by that principle of sharing and really working towards that.
Yeah, we do that in Fiji. We do that here for Habitat for Humanity. A lot of communities that we've kind of had outreach programs to help the communities. So,
yeah.
Do you think you...
Sorry, people say
go ahead, Von.
Find your peace. Our concept is, no, you're born with peace. You bring your peace. So
it just kind of like when you're talking, it's just like a lot of us, we often just like sit and wait. You even for things to happen, for people to come by, for us to start earning more money before we actually start doing something. But what it sounds like to me is from homelessness right until now, you've just been looking for things. I think you use that word too, Von, like you're looking for areas to be in. And when you look for things, you will find them, right? Rather than sitting and waiting for whatever to look for you, to come and find you where you are.
You gotta be proactive in what you want, your goals, the aspirations that you're looking at is not gonna just magically step on your lap or, land on your lap, but you gotta actively be out there and just...
Yes, that's good. Yes.
And everyone is capable of doing that. You can share not only in monetary value, your time. Time is priceless. You can share with your time, your kindness, your education. So there is no reason why people can't reach out a hand, to help each other. And it comes back 10, 15 times more. Like we have been so blessed without, doors open up to us when things, they say, impossible. No, there's no such thing as impossible. There's always a way. Processes are there in place, but there's always a way to get around it because somewhere or the other, that karma comes back to you. That's priceless. So I think that's what we have experienced from it.
So do you guys always agree, because there's so many things, and I can imagine one might come across an opportunity and Trina might come across one. Do you always agree on what it is? How do you decide?
I tell you, Lavonne and I are so like-minded that I think maybe because we spend a lot of time together, but we also, that's what we mean, we vibrate at the same frequency because we see for its, we see things together, we don't, maybe there's some things that we would disagree on, but not often, not often.
But ideas are different. I mean, Trina is very creative. She can see things walk into a room or see something and she's like, oh, that should be there. That should be. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't see a white wall. I mean, right? But if we're looking at we have our different skill set. We disagree in the sense where it's a good debate and then we bring out, okay, I didn't see it from that, that angle. And then we would come together.
Yeah, so in a way it complements each other.
Yeah. And then we've worked a lot together, and then as for relationship wise, we've worked on our relationship, on communicating and then compromising and really being respectful to each other.
Right, I love that. And that's so important when you're thinking of, a life partner. We don't often think too much about that. We're like, oh, this one looks good. That one looks like going to be my life partner. You know what, guys? We have come to the end of our show. I'm really sorry. I'm really getting carried away in this. And the director is saying it's time to end the show. But, we're going to be back for part 2 next week. There's still a lot more that we want to jump into. But thank you, viewers, for making time. Please do not miss last week. Get your friends to listen. This is one conversation you don't want to miss. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas, and we will see you next week back here on my TV.
Life with Liliana and Friends.